It's okay to hurt. It's okay to have a bad day. It's okay to be a little off or feel a little depressed. It happens to everybody. Everybody. And these last several weeks, 4, 6, I don't even know how many weeks it's been. It's been very difficult for most of us, whether it's personal, financial, spiritual, psychological, um, even from the sickness itself, right? And there's been a lot of conflicting opinions and a lot of arguments and a great fear of the unknown. Nobody has the answers, and people are looking for the answers. And that tends to put us down a path where it's pretty destructive because we don't know. Nobody knows what the future is. And we as people, we like to try to control our outcome. We want to be certain about what's going on and what to do and how we're going to do it. And I've been struggling in two areas. I love business, and I've been fighting to try to help local businesses and entrepreneurs and find creative ways for us to keep moving forward and to innovate and to reinvent ourselves and just find new opportunities instead of just sitting back and accepting, a short-term defeat, a long-term defeat. I have clients that have gone out of business. My business has been affected, and many of my friends are. And then I have that personal side tugging at me. I know what I went through. I know what my struggles were. I know what led to my struggles and stress and anxiety and maybe some depression. And I know that there's a lot of that out there right now. And I know there's a lot of people struggling with it. And I see some people starting to go down a path that I was on. And I can see it a mile away, but the people typically can't until, it gets too late. So I haven't been sure on how to convey my message because one is so personal, and I did it to myself. I made the bad decisions and put myself in that situation that had the negative or adverse effect on my business. People now didn't do anything to put themselves in that position with their business, but now they're suffering the consequences. And just as I was in my worst position over here, which contributed towards my problem and my excessive drinking and all of that, well, they didn't do anything to put themselves there, but now they're finding themselves in their bottom. Or maybe that's even from somebody lost their job. It's not necessarily business or entrepreneurs. And so every day I feel this conflict because I love business and I want to help business, but I know that there's struggle on the personal side, and I don't know how to mesh those two together. And then I realized the things that I did to get myself out of my low, self-inflicted, self-imposed, would still work today. I still had to accept where I was. I still had to make decisions. I still had to take action. I still had to have the discipline every day to do what I needed to do. And those same things will work on this side just because you didn't do it to yourself. So I wanted to give you 3 quick pointers, 3 quick tips that you can start today that worked for me to change the direction of my life when I was at my lowest or when I was struggling. And it's taken me some time and a lot of work, and I've shared it and I'll continue to share it. And if you have questions, reach out to me. But if you're in a position where you're not sure what's going on or what your future is going to hold, first and foremost, ask yourself, what do you want? Like, what's your ultimate goal? Is it to make sure when you go back to work that you're secure in case they do cutbacks? Is it, well, my business isn't working and maybe I have to find something else? Maybe it's, I lost my job and I'm not sure what to do. And none of it is easy. And I'm not here to say that it is. I mean, it can be very difficult. It can take a lot of work. And you might feel like, giving up at times, because I know I did. But the first thing I did was I truly sat down and I decided, what do I want to do? Like, what do I want to accomplish? And for me, I knew that I wanted to fix my business. I wanted to save my business. And I wanted to mend the relationships that I had damaged and all of that. And don't get me wrong, I'm still not done. I still have things I'm working on. I still have things I'm making right. I still have relationships that I'm working on. And, I'm not perfect. I'm a work in progress. And so are you. And that's nothing to be ashamed of. So number one, you figure out, what do you want to do? What's going to make you happy? What's going to benefit you? What's going to benefit the ones you love? What's going to give you the most out of life? Because that's really what it's about. It's about enjoying life. Even with the difficulties, you still got to bring the joy. Yeah, bring the joy to whatever situation you're in. Don't look for the joy, be the joy. So when you figure out what you want to do, the second step you have to do is figure out what specifically do I need to do to accomplish that. So if it's when you go back to work and you're uncertain about possible layoffs and cutbacks and consolidations, what can you do to differentiate yourself from everybody else? Because the world, I don't think, is going to be the same when we go back. And I really don't like when people say that, like, oh, it's going to be a different world. But I think situations are going to be different in the world now. And employers are going to look at things differently. And customers and vendors and wholesalers and all that stuff, there's going to be changes. Maybe the world's not going to be different, but there's going to be some changes that we have to adapt to. You know, technology, Zoom calls, just the FaceTimes, there's opportunity in this stuff. So look for the opportunity, look for the silver lining, but you have to figure out, what do I need to do to put myself in that best position? What can I do that's over and above what they're expecting of me to make myself stand out? If it's a business, what do I have to do to get where I want to go? From starting to growing to rebuilding, you start with what you have from where you are. We as people, we don't lack resources, we lack resourcefulness. Learning how to start where you are with what you have, maximize it, and then you look to enhance it. So what do we want? What are the specific action steps that we need to take? And then third is be honest with yourself, have an honest conversation, and answer the question, are you willing to do all of those things each and every day on a consistent basis, whether you feel like it or not? I had so many days that I didn't want to get out of bed. I had so many days I didn't want to go to the gym, and I didn't want to watch my diet, and I didn't want to read, and I didn't want to get up at 3:30 and 4 and meditate, but I just reminded myself, this is what I have to do to get to where I want to be, because I don't want to go back to where I was. Your past doesn't define you. Your past helped make you who you are, whether it was by your choices or somebody else. And it's not so much of what happens to us, but it's more about, how do we respond to it? Do you curl up in a ball and just accept the defeat? Or, do you kind of suck it up and say, all right, you know what? I didn't expect it. I can handle this. What do I have to do to get there? Okay? So you identify what you want, you know what you want, you figure out what you have to do, and then you have that honest conversation with yourself of, are you willing to do it each and every day on a consistent basis, realizing that every day is not going to be perfect and that you are going to fall short, you are going to be disappointed. There are going to be days where you wake up and say, you know what, I'm going to go conquer the world today, and then 9, 10 o'clock comes, you're laying in bed and you're like, I didn't get anything done. It happens. That was me last week. Like I had a very unproductive week because everything just caught up with me. And that's okay. Because you might crush it for 2, 3, 4 weeks or 2 months or 3 months, but even a race car needs a pit stop every once in a while. It needs to adjust, fix the brakes and change the tires. Well, the same thing with you. We can only do so much for so long in a certain period of time. You have to give yourself that break. You have to accept the fact that you're not going to be perfect. You have to accept the fact, like, you know what, my body's telling me I can't work out today. Or my mind is telling me you need to detach. And sometimes that means that you do have to take a day or two and totally detach from the world. Do a digital detox. Stay away from the phone. Don't check emails. Stay off social media. Go do something to clear your mind. Exercise, read, meditate, just something. When this is all over, maybe it's a weekend trip, maybe it's a staycation, maybe it's a take a vacation. Sometimes you just need that hard break to reset. A daily reset, still in the doing what you're doing, might not be enough. So taking a hard break to recharge, to re-energize, there's nothing wrong with it. In fact, it's probably one of the biggest mistakes that we, particularly in this country, make. Did you know that last year, statistically, it was 80% of Americans only used 40% of their paid time off. So 80% of all the employees did not use 60% of their time. Why? Oh, I'm saving it up. I'm saving it for an emergency. I want to carry 2 weeks forward. Whatever it is, we've all done it. I used to do it when I was in corporate America. But just imagine if you took that 1 or 2 days every couple months. Like your work will still be there, and nothing that any of us do, unless you're a surgeon or something, is going to make a difference if you take a day off. So I just needed to do this because I had to do my own brain dump, because I've had this conflict of, well, how do I tie my personal struggles to share that message? Because I am concerned about people on that, and I do want to help people that might be struggling. So I'm an open book. If you have questions, if you're dealing with addiction or struggle or depression or anxiety, I've been there, I've done it, I've gone through it. I still see a counselor. I'm good, I feel great, but I do things just to maintain. On the flip side, it could be your business and your business is struggling. Well, I've gone through it. I've gone through bad times, and I figured out what to do and how to save it. And now I figured out how to put those together, and I can bring the best of those two to anybody. And what took me 2.5 years to do, I could shorten that curve for you. I really can. And I'm not asking for anything in return. Maybe share my message, maybe give it to somebody that might need it. But I think we see the light at the end of the tunnel. I believe we're going to be okay. I think there's tremendous opportunity. And I think if everybody just looks in the mirror and realizes, like, you know what, I can do this, you can do this, we can do this together. We support each other, we love one another. Be patient with each other. I know tensions are high and emotions are high. And remember, we're all in the same team, same boat, whatever you want to say. We might have some different opinions, we might have some different political views, but in the end, we're all human. Doesn't matter where you live, how much money you make, what political affiliation you are, we're all human. So we're all in this together. And if you have something that you can offer to people, then put it out there. Everybody has something to offer. Everybody has something to share. So share, because you never know. There might be just that one person out there that needed to hear what you had to say today. I hope everybody's doing great. And I look forward to all of us being out so we can see each other in public again. And I hope that you're having a fantastic day with you and yours. And we're going to be okay.